As the day slipped away, all Buckmaster could think about was that Bo should have been back by now. He looked toward the mountains, imagining her riding out of the pines, back straight and head high, just as he'd taught her to ride. She would come back to face whatever problem she had at the Foundation. She wouldn't run. Misappropriation of funds. Those were the words that kept circling in his brain, thanks to his lawyer. As he entered the living room, he saw the television was on, one of the news stations. Angelina had taken to watching the news non-stop from the time she awoke to when she finally went to bed. "He looks like a hardened criminal, doesn't he?" she asked, her gaze on the television screen. He glanced at the mug shot of the man on the screen. Raymond Spencer looked still wet behind the ears. He had freckles, for hell's sake, and baby blue eyes. He also looked like he wanted to cry. Another mug shot flashed on the screen. In this one, he looked older and doped up. He'd shaved off all of his blonde hair. Something in his eyes had changed as well. "Turn that off," Buckmaster snapped, as the anchor said the man's escape was blamed on a communication gap between Livingston, Montana law officers. "The manhunt continues for Spencer, who is wanted in the armed robbery and death of a convenience store attendant. Spencer escaped 3 weeks ago after—" The television screen went black as Buckmaster turned it off with the remote. Angelina stared at the blank screen. He escaped in handcuffs. He would have to go somewhere to get those off, right? What is this obsession she had with crime? The moment Buckmaster thought it, he knew this was her reaction to what her brother had done. "Do you think you could kill someone?" she asked, turning to look at him for the first time since he'd entered the room. He sighed. "If I had to." He didn't have to ask her the same question. He knew. When her blackmailer had been murdered, her brother had been arrested. But Buckmaster had suspected Angelina had given him the gun. She denied it, but he'd come to know his wife. Angelina could be merciless. Understanding that had changed the way he looked at her, which in turn made him feel guilty. He loved this woman as much as he was capable of loving her, since Sarah had always been his true love. But with Angelina came a debt. He owed her. He knew he wouldn't have achieved his political standing without her. Also, he knew he should be glad that she was sticking with him, given what they'd been through lately. Better to have her on his side. She would make one brutal enemy. "We should make sure the doors are locked," she said, getting to her feet. "Livingston isn't that far away. Who knows where that escaped killer is?" "I'm sure they will catch him," Buckmaster said. "I thought I read in the paper this morning that they had tracked him through a bus ticket." "To Reno, Nevada," she said. "They think he bought a car down there and might have returned to Montana. There is concern he's still in the area since he was raised on the other side of the crazies in Wilsall. They're calling him a violent criminal." "Angelina." "I just don't understand what makes someone do something like that," she said, as if she hadn't heard him speak. That was the problem. He suspected she did know what made a person do horrible things. He stepped to her and took her in his arms. Her back was ramrod straight, her body stiff and unresponsive. They hadn't made love in months, not since Sarah had returned. After a moment, she stepped from his arms, and he let her go. After Sarah's appointment with the doctor, Russell brought her back to the cabin. He'd questioned her on the way home about what the doctor had said, but she'd been evasive. "The tests were inconclusive. He just doesn't know." Now Sarah picked up one of the strawberries Russell had brought her earlier and took a bite. She closed her eyes as her teeth sunk into it, a smile coming to her lips as she savored the fresh berry. Russell watched her.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.